Hey guys, I'm back with another video. I know I did say that I was gonna do every Mondays and Fridays, but sadly there's a little thing called life, and some things don't allow for that. And I apologize, but you see, I kind of have a life, and it's not always open to what I want to do. So I have assignments in some days, and it just fucks my whole schedule up. But I did promise to make this at some point, so here you guys go. I think I'll redo the thumbnail at some point, but it's okay for now. For now, I'm gonna change it eventually. So this is what if Deku had Nine's powers. I'm going to look a lot of Deku. What is not put out a Naruto right now, but I think I'm gonna make 2 videos today because I kind of let y'all niggas down because I'm kind of a piece of shit. But let's go beyond that. Let's go beyond that. So let's start. Okay, so how the story is gonna go is that Deku will get Nine's powers, but they will be two slots left, right? If you read the manga, you know what the other slot is for. Since I have to combat of all Deku's quirks, I have to make them equal out. Because yeah, Nine's quirk are good, and I'm taking away one for all from Deku. Oh please don't go yet, because I know some people when they hear that they just don't want to watch the thing. Trust me, I'm gonna make it worthwhile. It's not gonna be taking out one for all indefinitely. I'm just taking out he has the quirk. So you know how All Might had the embers of the quirk even after he gave who his name is now. He gave Deku the quirk, or Izuku the quirk. He has still had the embers of one for all. So what I'm doing is that Deku will have Nine's powers, but the embers merge with Nine's quirk. And I don't want to call Nine's quirk one for all. I mean all for one, because it's kind of not. Because it's not. He doesn't have unlimited supply. He has okay powers. Okay, let's get into the video and get on with what I have planned. So let's hit it. So Deku, we see Deku and Bakugo running towards Nine, and with Bakugo's hair spiked up and it's golden yellow, in a golden orange or yellow form. And basically what is happening is that both of them are using one for all, but because Deku gave Bakugo the quirk. So they keep fighting, and eventually they defeat Nine. And Nine, but before Nine dies, he touches Izuku's hand. By the tip of their hands touched, and in that second, everything went blank for Izuku, or Deku. Deku woke up in this purple misty place. It was dark, but it had purple accents to it. It just was a very dark shade of purple, which you could mistake for black. So Deku got up and was wondering how the hell did he get here, but he decided to wander around. He took step after step, but he couldn't find anyone until he heard a voice. And just like that, Nine appeared in front of him. Deku got on guard, but realized that he couldn't really move properly. He could move, but he's restricted a lot. So he doesn't know if he can fight. And he doesn't even know he has all for one right now. I mean one for all. But Nine looks at him. He says, in this world, there are the strong and there are the weak. You, Deku, are strong. Why would you protect the weak? Deku pauses for a second. Realize what Nine is asking him, and realize what Nine's plan was. Deku said, I protect the weak because I was once weak, but I became strong. I didn't become strong on my own. I became strong from other strong people. What I'm trying to say is that I was never strong in the first place. I was actually kind of weak, but through my determination and my want to be a hero, I became strong. Nine looked at him, almost analyzing his entire body, almost staring into Deku's soul. Nine looked up and said, why do you think my plan was wrong? You obviously think it is wrong because you tried to stop me. I want to know why you thought it was wrong. Deku pauses for a second, and then thinks about it. He then says, I think it's wrong because you don't give the weak a chance. Everyone can become strong if they want to. It's staying weak is the problem. I realize this now. When I was powerless, when I was weak, I wanted someone to save me. I wanted someone to come and help me. And it came eventually. But what I was gonna do if that person didn't save me? Was I gonna stand there and wait at my miserable life, keep waiting? I realize now what I've been doing is waiting for other people to help me. I don't think that's fair. Why does people have to stretch out a hand to help other people when they can't help themselves? I know this probably sounds like rambling, but I understand now. And I don't pardon, oh, I don't feel like it's wrong per se. It's the execution. You decided to destroy the whole world, then to build it back again. It just seems kind of unnecessary to me. 9 pauses, analyzing Deku's words again, and then spoke and says, I guess you're right. And then just like that, in a snap of a finger, Deku woke up. Now, everything from there happens in the canon, except Deku getting back one for all, like I was explaining. So, yeah. Now, Deku left the island, and Deku doesn't know he has 9 powers yet, because I guess, well, why would he? But he does feel something strange. But he also knows he doesn't have one for all anymore, and it's kind of been bumming him out. But he decides he still wants to be a hero, and if he has to use up the rest of his embers, that doesn't matter to him. Once he gets to be a hero in the end, to save people, that's what he always wants to do. And why would he stop now? Just because some of his quirks are gone? His quirk is on, why would he stop? Because he made this whole speech about how not staying weak, and now that he has a chance to revert to how he was before, he doesn't want to go back to that. He wants to be strong. So they make it back to the island, and I'm skipping forward a few months, and this is how basically things have been happening. Throughout Deku, like, being back to his normal country, they've been on break for a while because of a whole incident. They have to get everything, because of the attack, they need to get everything financed. So everybody is staying at their houses, but they still come to school for training, and that's all they come to school for, and then go back home right after. But the thing that was happening is because now Bakugo has the power of One for All Might decides to help him instead of Izuku, because obviously All Might knows Bakugo has One for All because Deku told him. So it wouldn't really make sense for All Might to teach Deku, because he doesn't have the quirk anymore. That's how All Might sees it. So, and then Deku's Deku's been realizing stuff too. Like, the whole class has been up on Bakugo because they saw Midoriya, but they also saw Bakugo, and saw how strong he became, and it seems like it's stagnant. It's almost like he had 2 quirks instead of 1. And now Deku, but they all look at Bakugo in amazement, and some of them have even placed it in their head that he's the de facto leader of the class. Someone idolizing him because he now has 2 quirks, praising him even, and being basically his follow worshippers. But Deku haven't been that in mind, because Deku wants to become a hero still, and he is kind of upset and bummed out that everything's been happening, but he still has his friends like Uraka, Ida, and Todoroki. So he just deals with it at this point. He doesn't really mind nor really care. He's just so mellow about things now. He's calm even. So after a while, Deku just keeps on training with his embers, but he realizes something, that his body, the embers that are of One for All, they've just been they've been acting up. Let's put it that way. To be more particular, Deku's body has just been getting more of a black streak with purple outlines. But that's all of it happening. Not much has happened after that, so he doesn't pay it any mind and sees his quirk just acting up because it's losing its power. Little did he know, it's not losing power at all. It's building actually. I'll get back on that later. So Deku just basically chilling. Just to be honest, he's basically chilling, and he goes out one day just for shits, and he bumps into someone. It was Cammy. It is Cammy, and Cammy looks at him and doesn't realize him at first, but Deku remembers her very quickly because that's the person that was rubbing up on him. He knows that it was not her, but yeah. So he gets embarrassed and says sorry and calls Cammy by her name, and Cammy doesn't understand how she knows him, but she asks Deku how does she know her, and Deku tells her about the whole incident that happened, and she kind of smiled and says, so you've seen all of me, haven't you, Deku? And Deku gets really embarrassed, but he says yes, and Deku just, so Cammy just laughs it off, and asks Deku what he's doing right now, and Deku says he's not really doing anything, he's just like kind of walking around, and Cammy smiles and says, you want to go out for something to eat? And Deku, not really thinking about the situation, says yes, and they go out for something to eat. They exchange numbers and they both go home, and Cammy texts Deku, and they spend the whole night texting. But enough on that. Deku just does his thing, honestly. Just I don't want to do this no more because I do this thing right where whatever. I'm rambling. Oh my god. So Deku just does his thing, and I don't want to. So Deku does all of this, and he gets called to go to train again at UA, but not by All Might, by like some random nigga. And he goes though, and he trains, but he slowly realizes that throughout the day, All Might hasn't even spoken to him, not more or less looked at him. He spent his whole time focusing on Bakugo. It hurts him a little bit, but he understands it. He realizes that Bakugo is the one for all now. All Might's goal is to take out All for One and make sure everyone is safe. He can't be bothered by a quirkless normie like him. And Deku clenches his fist and walks away. But throughout the day, he saw most of his friends, his classmates, while talking about Bakugo, kind of put him down in a way, because he's always compared to him, they compare the both. They now say that Deku has no chance of ever being like Bakugo. In a way, they don't say it to his face or say it exactly like that, but that's basically what they're saying. But Deku just, he takes it. He says he doesn't feel like arguing about it. It's just, to him, it's not worth it. So he leaves it. He goes home and he sleeps. He cries himself to sleep. As much as he didn't want it to bother him, it does. He can see how his life is reverting how it was before he had his quirk, and he realizes that all the achievements he made, all the friends he made, was because of his quirk. And who could blame them? Really, who could? You can't blame someone for liking someone, or you can't force people to like you. They have to like you on their own, and for whatever reason that they like you, you have to accept that. it's not always about you, and he understands this more than everybody. So Deku sucks it up because he doesn't want to. He doesn't want to just. He doesn't know. He doesn't want to just be like the rest, I guess. Anyways, Deku just goes off and he's, how to put this in the best way. He goes out one morning and for some reason he tries to use his powers, but it doesn't work for a bit. And then when he used it again, something came out of his back. A giant blue tendril. Okay, so let me find a GIF for Nine's powers, so I can show you all of them, and then I can put them on the screen. So just wait a sec. Sorry guys, let me just leave. So let's get on. Let me just get on with the story. So oh shit. Oof. I knew I had to knock some things out. Whew. Okay. So let's see. You know. Sorry. I forgot that what I was looking for. I forgot I was looking for what's called now. I was looking for gifts. Wait, did I get it? Oh, I didn't put it. So this I was talking about. Sorry guys, this food is probably so messed up. Anyways, I'm done. Alright, let's get back to what I was doing originally. Alright, so yeah. So that happened, and what the fuck? What's up, bro? hold on. Something happened. My thing is froze. Because I might have to redo this shit. Anyways, hold on. Okay. Okay, I think I got it fixed. I'm sorry about that, bro. So sorry about that. Okay, I'm back. I got the thing figured out. Sorry about that, guys. So Deku finds out about his new power, and the blue tendril things come out, and he realizes it was Nine's abilities, and he goes outside to the place where he first trained for One for All, to start training for Nine's powers. So he extended his hand and tried to shoot the dragon out of his hand, but it didn't work. So when he realized Nine always used it on his back, he tried to spew it out of his back, and it worked instantaneously. Try to see how much he could make, and he was stuck with 2 now. So he got off with it and just tried to see what other quirks he had. He extended his finger and flicked it to find that he kind of still had One for All, but it was at the percentage that he always used to use it, 20. I think it was 20 or 25. The percentage he used it in the anime, like for full counting. So he was able to full count his body up to the point so where lightning came out of his body. So he was kind of ecstatic, because this means he doesn't have to revert to how he was before and become weak, because he was dreading that day where his embers fully gave out to the point where he didn't have a quirk anymore. Because again, he doesn't want to go back to the old him. He doesn't want to go back to meaningless Deku to prove Bakugo right. He doesn't want to do that. But even now, he doesn't hate all for. I mean, not all for one. He doesn't hate All Might. He doesn't hate Bakugo. He doesn't hate anybody in his class, because he understands. He understands they like them because his quirk was strong, and he needs to accept that because that's the society you live in. You can't change everything, and you can't save everyone. He learned this. He grew. He understands that in this world nothing's fair, and just trying to make everything fair is disaster. Because what Nine was trying to do was make things fair in his own light, because the world treated him the way it did. Because Deku did do some research on Nine, so yeah, that's how he knows this. He realized that Nine came from a strong quirk. His quirk was strong, and therefore people feared him. Not like Bakugo, which it could be contained, but with quirks like with a quirk like Nine's, he's almost a god. So people feared him instead of revering him, instead of showering him with praises and all of that dumb shit. Nine felt the bad wrath of humanity. Not just because you're strong, everybody's gonna like you, or they could even hate you. Life is not fair. It wasn't fair to him, and he had power. So you realize this now, and he learned from all of his mistakes he made in the past. Instead of getting angry, instead of getting sad, instead of getting mad, He just accepts it, accepts what his powers is, and this is a gift, and not to waste it or get overcome with arrogance or self-righteousness. He doesn't become emotionless. He's still the same old Deku. He just doesn't feel any particular feelings about really anyone at this point. But he does have to go to Chakame's to like improve his suit or see if he needs to change anything because of his new quirks. But before he does that, he wants to get a grasp on everything he has. So Deku does remember what Nine's original quirk was, which was weather manipulation. So he tries to make a rain cloud at first. At first, it was a problem because he doesn't know what he was doing. So he thought the easiest way to do this was to imagine a rain cloud, because that's how some people quirks work. For Yaoyorozu, she needs to know how the molecular structure of something to make it. So he didn't think Nine is that smart to the point where he could memorize every weather pattern. So he guesses that he imagined the thing in his mind, and then it came to existence. Or that's how he uses it properly. So Deku tries it, and at first it didn't work, but when he really put some focus and some effort into it, a rain cloud, the rain started to fall. Well, in the Pacific area that he was in, it started to fall. Deku smiled, looking at the first improvement. But he knew that he couldn't just achieve all this power, or achieve all of Nine's quirk by himself, so he decided he needed help. And who could help him? He knows All Might isn't an option because he's trying to train Bakugo. So it's not an option. So what could he do next? Deku thinks about it. He goes over the heroes in his head and tries to figure out who is the best choice. And since he trained with the number one before, why didn't he train with the number one now? Because he knows that it's Endeavor, and he thinks that he could help him with the laser quirk that he saw Nine use. He's not that good with attacks that actually burn stuff or actually damages a really lot, unless it's kicks and punches. He doesn't have that much experience in it. But with a person like who his name is now, goddamn, Endeavor, is probably the daily for him. So he decides to ask Todoroki for his father's number, and Todoroki was surprised that Deku called because they haven't talked in a bit, which he noticed and was kind of wondering why, but he doesn't pay attention to it right now. But he gives Deku his father's number, and Deku calls Endeavor. And he didn't really think it would be that easy to get in contact with the number one hero, but hey, beggars can be choosers. So he gets in touch with Endeavor and explains his situation. He didn't explain everything or how he got the quirks. He just explains that this is what's happening and he wants his help. Endeavor ponders it for a bit. He goes over it in his head, because this kid probably could have potential, but why? He's the number one. He's not self-righteous about it because he's still on his redemption arc, but he does know but this kid probably does know he has a lot of stuff to do. But he says he'll give this kid a chance, and he does. So eventually, Eventually, Endeavor goes to Dagobah. I finally remember the name, Dagobah Beach, goes to Degebe Beach, and he talks to Deku. He figures out, he tries to figure out what Deku wants from him, and Deku explains the whole thing, the whole problem, and he understands why Deku would come and talk with, because and Dick and he gives us some tips on how to control the regulation, and starts basically training Deku. Now Deku now Endeavor does know that Deku and Todoroki, or his son, has a very close relationship. So he's also using this to get closer to his son and fix what he destroyed, which was his family. And eventually, the whole thing with Deku and Endeavor first encounter come up, because it was bound to come up at some point. And Endeavor explained what he did to his family, or his side of the story. We've always heard it from either Todoroki or his family side, but they never saw it from Endeavor's. And this is more my speculation, so if you don't like it, I don't mind, and I would understand, because at the end of the day, it's your choice to understand what's going on with him. So eventually, sorry, damn, I'm so goddamn stupid today. Jesus Christ. Oh my god. So Endeavor started explaining. He explains about his first child, Toya, and explains how he didn't, after Toya, he felt like his goal was achieved. His initial goal was never to get half cold, half ice. It was just to have a strong child. He explains how brilliant Toya was, and how much of a prodigy was at a young age. But he noticed that he was burning himself. That after a while, after they took him to the doctor and they found out that his quirk was not made for his body, he realized something. That Toya wasn't fit to be a hero. And Endeavor was scared. He was scared for his son, because who wants their son to die like that? So he told him to find a new job, find a new life, and in telling him that, it drove him to his death. He trained, because he didn't come out on that mountain that day. Toya killed himself. Well, not intentionally, but he killed himself. And after that, he was so blinded by training his children to make sure what happened never happened again. He didn't do it for everyone, so he wanted to find the one that was most like Toya to him, the one that was a prodigy just like Toya, the one that could surpass him just like how Toya could eventually. Never ever lost sight after that. He knows that it was not an excuse. He chose his path. He chose to abuse his children. Or if he didn't abuse them, neglect them. He chose to do that. So Endeavor tells Deku that everything that has happened is his fault. He accepts that. But unlike other people that would realize this and then not do anything about it, he doesn't want to do that. Okay, pause guys. Okay, sorry guys. Okay, so yeah, that's Endeavor's whole side of his story, and Deku was saw Endeavor's descent into his life. All that he was trying to do was help his son originally, help his first son, and because he was trying to help him, he killed himself. Tried to make sure that his first son stayed alive. He died because of it, and the way he could have prevented it was by training him. That was the solution, and he ignored it because it would have hurt him. And that Deku couldn't wrap his head around it. It was so strange. The situation is so strange because the way Deku sees it is that basically Endeavor did nothing wrong. In a way, he's not saying Endeavor is a saint or he never did anything wrong. He's just saying that basically what happened was just an entire it was depression. Deku still couldn't get his head wrapped around it because it's weird. It's a weird situation to be in because you understand the father's side and you understand the kid's side, but you also realize that originally the father didn't intend to abuse his kids or destroy their lives. He just wanted to make sure his family was safe, but it caused so much for him. And after that day, Deku had a respect for Endeavor that he never had for anyone before. For All Might it was admiration, but for Endeavor it was respect, utter respect, because although All Might was Deku's favorite hero, he realizes now that his favorite hero now is Endeavor. Not because of who he is as a hero, but how much of a person he is. He's not just a hero to him now. He's a person. He's a father. A father that failed, but then again, who doesn't fail. So Deku goes on training and he finds out about his wind pressure quirk. He hasn't mastered his laser quirk yet, to the point where but he doesn't know how to make sure he doesn't kill someone with his laser hands. But if he carries it out to a certain point, he can't control how hot they can get or how much they can destroy. He's even mimicked a technique of Endeavor's Hell Spider, and he calls it Plus Ultra Hell Spider. It's a mixture of both of his prominence burn and you understand what I'm telling you. He does the whole whip thing with his fingers. So after that, Deku he goes to Hachime because he's found out he knows what his quirks were, and he's now focusing on Nine's shield quirk. But it's really kind of really easy. It's not that really hard to master, particularly because it's just shields. Like, you just put them in front of you, and he doesn't want to start anticipating people's move. With Bakugo, he can do that easily because he understands Bakugo on a fundamental level. He knows every punch Bakugo is going to make. So because he studied him for so long. But with other people, he just can't do that. But he wants to naturally do so. So when he can trade fists with someone for at least one time, he can understand how their moveset is. If you understand what I'm saying. So Deku does that, and he goes to Hachime for his new suit. He gave Hachime some designs for his new suit, in that now it's black and purple instead of green and white. But the handle guards are still purple, or still white and green. They're still white and green. The little gloves that Deku has, and but the only color change is that and the respirator. It's more to clear out air as anything. It's basically the same suit but given different color. It's not really that much. But Hachime made it for him, and they get to talking, and Deku and Hachime talks to Deku, and Deku listens to her, quoting back things she said, and this amazes Hachime because no one has ever like spoken to her on a level like how Deku does. He's just so clean with it, you could say. But Hachime gave Deku her number and tells him so they can continue the conversation later. And Deku goes back home. And a few weeks pass, and Deku's going back into school in like 4 weeks. He has to go back to school. And someone else, and a week later, someone calls him. He's been texting both May and he's been texting both May and is it May? Yeah, May and Cammy, and he's even introduced them to each other, and they've been going out on seemingly Deku doesn't notice yet, but they've been dates with basically two girls, but he hasn't paid attention. He just sees it as them going out as friends. But someone calls him, and it is, what is your name, damn? Hold up, guys. Is it 2 heroes? It's 2 heroes. Hold up, guys. I just need to check something really quickly. I just need to check something. Oh my god. Sorry guys, sorry. Oh damn, I spelled that so wrong. Damn. Anyways, Melissa. Whew, damn, it took a while. It took a while. I had to go search this shit up. Anyways, Jesus Christ, man, that's really embarrassing. That's really embarrassing. That I had to go search up Cammy's name. Anyways, Cammy, and I mean not Cammy. I mean Melissa. Jesus, Melissa, and Melissa calls him and tells him that she's in town and that to come and pick her up from the airport. Deku was surprised to hear this, but he doesn't really pay much attention to it. It's a weird request because they haven't talked before this, and how did she get his number? But he doesn't focus too much on it, and he goes to the airport and picks her up, and with a taxi, of course, because nigga can't drive, nigga got no car, and he talks to her and finds out that she's coming here to visit, and it was a last minute decision, so she just called the only person she knew, and Deku asked her how she got his number, and she says don't worry about that, and Deku was a little weirded out by it, but he paid it no mind and no attention really. I just went on with his day. Deku did all of this and then went home. He brought Melissa home to his house because Melissa said she doesn't have anywhere to go really. Deku took that as in she doesn't have anywhere to go right now because she probably has the hotel booked. Knowing how well off Melissa is, he doesn't really question it. I question that sort of speak from him. So they go to his house, and Melissa meets Deku's mom, and Deku's mom kind of freaks out because Deku's bringing a girl to her house for the first time, so she thinks it's his girlfriend, and she goes on her ramble. You know how Midoriya moms is, and she talks to her, and she finds out that she didn't mean she had nowhere to go right now. She meant as in literally she had nowhere to go. And Inko said that she could stay there with no question almost. Deku did vouch that he knew her very well and that she's a really good person, but Deku was like, Mom, you just can't let anybody stay here. And where she's gonna sleep. And Melissa says, and Inko says she can sleep in your room, Deku. And Deku kind of freaks out because remember, Deku hasn't changed really. He just matured a bit. But beyond that, Deku just lets everything go. He takes Melissa back into his room and he sleeps on a futon on the ground and Melissa sleeps in his bed. She offers Deku to go sleep with her, but Deku declines. But then the night passes and Deku feels something under his sheet. Deku wakes up and then looks under his futon, not under his futon, but he feels something pressing against him and something slowly grinding on his body. He can feel his member erect straight up, and he looks up and he sees a mop of yellow hair with blue eyes staring down at him. Melissa, he realizes it's Melissa, and he doesn't know what's going on right now, but then he feels something warm. He feels his member go into something warm, and he instantly realizes what is happening. And before he goes to scream or something, Melissa covers his mouth and just says, "Just enjoy it." Melissa then takes her hand off of Deku's mouth and starts kissing his neck, sucking on his neck, and giving him two hickeys right under, on the side of his neck. And then Deku, for some reason, grabs Melissa's waist and presses her down. Melissa starts to moan, but she covers her mouth, and she also grinds on Deku, moving her hips. She looks into Deku's eyes, being glazed being glazed, and you can just see the pleasure on her face. She keeps her hands on her mouth to make sure she doesn't scream or anything, because Deku's member isn't small. Actually, matter of fact, Deku's body at this point is really big. Deku's have grown to a little over Bakugo's height, a little over, and then his body has just stretched out immensely with every. I think he still has the same build as in how, but he's just taller, and it doesn't look weird on him, and it just looks so natural. But his hair is the thing that changed the most about him. Recently, he's had to realize he had to dye his hair because his front bangs are becoming white. He doesn't know why, but they're just becoming white. But let's get back to it. Melissa is grinding on Deku, but then she gets up onto the futon and Deku grabs her thighs and places his hand right under her butt and puts her onto the bed. Deku then puts her down onto his mattress and grabs her by the throat and thrusts his member right into her, going repeatedly back and forth, and then bending down to kiss her. This happens for at least an hour at best because Deku keeps tapping in and tapping out. But yeah, it happens for an hour, and both of them are on the bed. So after that, Deku finally snaps back into it and gets out of that lusted state, and then looks at her and asks her why. As she heard that question, the floodgates just start going open, and she starts explaining. She explains how because his father helped the villain, and since he got into prison, she's lost everything. The people that helped run his company took everything from her and didn't even care. They took every single thing away from her. The only thing she has is his father's belongings, and then she's not old enough to take them. and she doesn't know if she even get him. She starts crying and she doesn't understand, and she only turned to the one person that she could think of, the person who saved her and saves her father. And Deku looks into the ceiling and says, I'll save you. I'll save you again, I promise. And she smiled and hugged him. Now, this is the next day, and Cammy and May came to visit, but so they have never met Midoriya's mom, but they do know where the spare key is. So they open the door because no one was answering, and they go into Deku's bedroom, sneaking in because they didn't want to wake up, or either wake up or let they be found out by Inko. Now they go into Deku's bedroom, but what they see startles them, and that is Midoriya beating Melissa's back, like beating her back out, like crazy style. And Deku hears the door open and turns around and looks at both of them, and he kind of was shocked. And then he kind of says, "It's not what you think it is." And then Deku thinks about it and then says, "It's exactly what I think it is." And he thought they were gonna yell. He doesn't know why they thought he was gonna yell. They were gonna yell, but it just felt like something that would happen. But instead of yelling, Cammy starts unbuttoning her short booty pants, and unbuttons the short jeans pants, and starts taking off her white top, and slips onto the bed with Deku being frozen in shock, really. And she glides her hands on Deku's chest and presses her chest onto Deku's back, kissing his neck, and says, my, don't stop on my accord, Deku." And she slowly pushes him forward, leading him back into Cammy, and Cammy moans. And Melissa puts her head back into the pillows. Now, then, soon after, May follows, and they have intercourse, sex, nigga. Anyways, now after that, Deku lays on his bed again, with now not one but 3 females in his bed. Rizdoriya is Rizuku Hibdoriya. Don't I? Anyways, that was a very weird bad joke, but whatever. Deku then asks them why they're there, and Deku says, "Why did that just happen?" And they say, both basically Cammy and May confessed their love to him. They says at first they just liked him, but now that he took their virginity, they don't really feel like they want to be with anyone else. And her and May was just thinking about it because they knew what their feelings on Deku the first time they met. So now they came over today to ask him if they were willing to be in a relationship with both of them. And Deku was shocked to hear this. But Cammy wasn't finished speaking. She said, "But now that we see you with Melissa here, we think we can open it a little bit more, but promise me this is the last. And we want to know if you would be willing to, And Deku was shocked at first. Deku was thinking in his mind, like, this is every man's dream, but I don't want to rush into it. I don't want to say yes immediately. So he does something else. He asks them, "Are you sure about this? Don't you want to take a month or 2 to rethink this? Because obviously I want to say yes, but I don't want to hurt you. I don't want to. What if something happens and I show more affection to the other than the other?" And Cammy smiles. "For me, Deku, You just asking that question assures me everything I want to know. Everything. Just assures everything for me. I know a lot of guys that would just say yes immediately and not look back, but you took the time to look at our to look out for us and make sure we were okay with it before you said anything. And the other two nodded. And we'll try to make some rules for this and see if it can work. Deku pauses for a sec and says, if that's what you guys want, I won't object. They laugh and they all kiss, one by one, obviously, and then they all kiss Deku at one time. It was a little weird, it was a little awkward at first, but they'll slowly get into it eventually. But yeah. But this is where the end of the video is going to end. I made a lot of mistakes in this one, because you need to realize, guys, that I make all my what ifs. I don't script them. I don't script my what ifs. I feel like the best thing about me, I don't script my what ifs. I feel like I should do this, but I did it one time and it didn't do so well. So if you want me to go back to scripting my videos, then sure, I will. But I feel like I shouldn't. But if that's what you guys want, sure, whatever. Now, for this part 2 of this needs to get like 10 likes, and it's kind of it. For part 2 of this what if, 10 likes. That's kind of not that much, but you know what, guys? If you get 10 likes, it will slowly rise up. For like, so the next video will not be 20 likes, it will just be 10 likes. But the next video after that, it will be 20 likes until the series is finished. So yeah, guys. So this is it. And I promise the next part will be way more interesting than this one, because I kind of just did this off the top of my head. But the other one will be planned, because I have a lot of things planned. I didn't want to go straight into the fighting. And we all know Season 5 doesn't have the most interesting parts. So I'm going to have to spice a lot of shit up to make this good. So yeah. I guess this is it, guys. Deku was asleep in the same void place as before, but it was weird. Everything was silent.
Even with unique series,
it was weird. He could hear a voice saying numbers to him. 65032685. And it keeps saying names and numbers after numbers after numbers. And then Deku just woke up. Deku looked around and then saw his computer and then logged into it. He started going onto bank sites and typing in the numbers on the codes like it was a reflex. He typed the numbers in his code, and there was a bunch of money on all of the accounts. There were at least 10 accounts with millions of dollars into them. He made an account for himself, put in his information, and changed him. He didn't change a lot. He made a platform for himself, an account for himself, and signed up for a membership, a credit card membership, and he started looking at houses. This was like off a reflex of Deku. His eyes were purple, his hair that was blonde, that was dyed green, his front bangs that was dyed green came off, and they were kind of floating, and he had this purple hue around him, like it wasn't really him. But then he suddenly stopped after buying the house, giving Deku, making a credit card for himself, and getting furniture, and getting 2 houses, and another house for his mother, and getting a house for him that were very well off. He stopped, and eventually he went back to bed. So that will be it for today, guys, and I hope you guys liked the video, and you like the last part, like the extra part of this. And it's just basically a way for me to like not worry about Inko all that much and not make Deku look like a scrub. So I can do certain things that I want to do. Cause I can't do it without Deku not being with Deku being a broke nigga. Damn, this is a lot of fucking photos. I've been scrolling for a goddamn while now. Jesus fucking Christ, nigga. What? I'm now there? Damn. Guys, just wait a sec. Huh. Finally, god damn. I've been here for a while. So, guys, this is the house that he bought for his mom, because again, his mom is just one person, so she doesn't need all that space. But this is he bought it in a relatively good neighborhood, far away, not far away from the city, but far enough away from the city, and you'll know why if you watch season 6. You'll know why I placed it there. And this is the house that Dagu bought for himself and his 3 girlfriends. So, because it has to be bigger, because again, it's not just him living there. It's like him and like 3 other people. So, yeah. And if you want to know the estimated price of Deku's, how much money Deku has now, well, I'll give you like this, right? If his account, at the minimum, had at least, let's say, $20 million, each had $20 million, add that up, and like, and he took off, let's say, like 20 million, like 30, like 40 million to give his mother, and they would about like either they're around 10. It's your own interpretation. It's either 10 or 11 accounts that he had. Then you can guys, I could estimate the amount of money that it would take. But I guess that's it for today, guys. Someone will put it down in that calculation in the comments. Please do that, please, because I don't want to do all that work. Please help a nigga out. But that's it, guys. Have a good day, and I'm out.